Okay, so just to recap where we're at. All right, so that very first cut that we did, that's all the white that you see. And if you remember, it's just the white of the paper, so it's considered the highlight. I went a little too nuts with the highlight, in my opinion, especially above the nose and the nostrils. I got a little carried away. But you and your students will not get carried away because you're looking at this one and you're gonna know Mrs. A.R.A.P got a little carried away. So that's the white of the paper. So that's the very first carve, and it's always going to be the lightest areas and the whitest. It's gonna be kind of like the highlight. The tint is the next darkest, moving away from that highlight layer, and that is the yellow ochre. Okay, so we put the yellow ochre on first, and then we mixed the violet that I thought was black. We mixed the violet with the yellow ochre, and we got a very nice earth tone. Now, I had already carved, remember I put template 2 on, and I carved everywhere that I wanted it to be considered the tone. And so what happens is that yellow ochre came through, that nice kind of goldish color came through everywhere I carved away. And so it's very tricky sometimes for kids to understand that when you're carving away, whatever color is underneath is going to show through when you put a darker color on top. Now the last value that we have is the shade value. And so it's really, really important that students understand that in order to have the shade show up on your print, they must not carve it away. Okay, so a lot of students, when we were doing this project a couple years ago, they accidentally carved away their eyes or something important like a nostril, because they got so used to putting the tracing paper down and pressing that graphite into the block that when it came time for the last layer, that shade layer, they carved away everything that was supposed to be the shade, and that was unfortunate. So show students some of these blocks that are left over and show them that raised, that relief, that high relief area, that was the last layer of the print. And I think I've got some photocopies left over, so you can even say like, see how this is the last layer? It has to stay right raised up. Now, something that really helps is if at the end, when they're ready to print their shade layer, the shade is just the black ink mixed with a little bit of one of those complementary colors. Please don't let them skip adding the black ink to one of the complementary colors. We really want them to learn that the shade is not just straight black, but there's always color in that black, in that shadow. So they'll pick one of their complementary colors and they'll add a little bit of black to it, and then they'll put that in one of the condiment containers. So they can use the Sharpie, and everywhere that they do the Sharpie on their linoleum block, that is where they will leave the linoleum block raised. So the nostrils, the eyes, they're gonna carve everything else, everything that's that light pink color, and they're not going to carve the black Sharpie areas. So this is our bear. We want to make sure that we keep that nice contrast. So right now I'm just gonna carve around the black. I'm going to keep the background black. I'm hoping it'll really help the bear pop with some of that gold and white up there. Yay!